Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's morning musings is using Ho'oponopono to reclaim power from the hologram. I'm doing a series of daily morning musings. Now, I wrote these posts a while ago, and the world has completely transformed since then. So, as I'm reading, if I encounter anything that seems out of date or have had some additional revelation since then, I will interrupt myself and give you the most up-to-date information. So, at the end, if necessary, I will summarize the topic based on what's going on in the world today. And I have some special offers, so stay tuned to the very end to find out what they are. Using Ho'oponopono to reclaim power from the hologram. Ho'oponopono is a Hawaiian shamanic tool for reclaiming power from the morphic field. Although that's not exactly how Joe Vitale described it in his book Zero Limits, which is linked below. Ho'oponopono first became known in popular circuits through the internet rumor, an actual true story. Dr. E. Haleakala Hugh Len, a psychotherapist assigned to an incurable ward of criminally insane patients of a mental hospital. The place was so bad, plants died there. It had a high turnover rate for doctors and nurses working there. It was a scary place. Dr. Hugh Len never met with his patients, yet within a short time, people started getting better. Morale improved, and now the place is closed because all the patients either recovered or got transferred to lesser facilities. How? He sat with each patient's chart and chanted Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. He didn't chant it for them, but for the part within him that had created them. If you look at this reality as the hologram program you created, you just forgot that you were the one standing outside the holodeck talking to the computer, then what Dr. Hugh Len was doing was de-energizing the part of the program that created the insanity. He did it by turning within and tuning in to his greater self. Now, most of the people believe that the world is real, that they're powerless and limited, and life is something that happens to you. But we're all going through a consciousness shift, and we are all gradually waking up and realizing that this world is an illusion. It's a holographic creation. You can acknowledge that you are an infinite being and the one that created it, and begin to reclaim power from all the patterns in the morphic field that are uncomfortable. And as you're going through this transition, you might notice that you have an awful lot of power tied up in the hologram. You've given a lot of power to the story or the myth of reality being real in a specific way, and it keeps you enmeshed in the hologram. And you can see this in the world today with people who don't want to be woke. And they're the ones that are really losing their minds, trying to drag people back to the 1950s or the 1930s to a belief system that actually didn't work very well when people were going through it the first time. So one way that you can help your own evolution is to reclaim power, bring the power back to you from the illusion in this hologram. Then you can appreciate the illusion as a marvelous creation. In my early mystery school training, I learned that we are spirit and we've manifested the body to experience the fun of being in the physical. And all the emotions and sensations that this world provides is something that we don't have in the non-physical, which includes negative emotions and physical discomfort. And as consciousness, we're enjoying it all, even if the body personality is griping about it. In my clairvoyant training, we saw everything as pictures rather than patterns and learned to de-energize the ones that are blocking us from seeing clearly. So my fun discovery the other day was to use Ho'oponopono to reclaim power. When I said, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, as the infinite being, as consciousness, and I'm addressing my own body personality, I noticed a tremendous energy shift. So whenever I felt uncomfortable or some memory or topic came up, some issue, I imagined the greater me stepping into the situation and addressing the smaller me and saying, I'm sorry I created you to have a shitty childhood. Please forgive me for writing that subplot into your storyline. And then I'd say, I love you, and really meant it. And I'd feel this wave of compassion similar to what I'd feel for my kids when they're making their way through life. And then I'd say, thank you in advance, because I'm not certain that the body personality has really forgiven me for the shitty childhood or subplot. You can do this with other people in your hologram as long as you do it from the perspective that they're actors in your story. You've auditioned and cast them for the part, including whatever you're aware of or reacting to in their character in the storyline. I'm sorry, you say to yourself, for creating that boss or that coworker or that family member. Please forgive me for writing them into your show. I love you. Thank you. Oh, and what a marvelous creation this all is. I can can tell when energy moves because I start breathing deeper. And shortly after bringing power back to myself, I usually feel inexplicably happy, except the explanation is that I've reclaimed power. It's fun to see me addressing me. Now, it helps to do this without an agenda because if you have an agenda, you're really trying to change, fix, or improve something and you're judging it. And judging it makes it stick like glue. So I suggest doing this with a sense of curiosity to see what happens, just for the fun of it. I invite you to play with this, either using HoOponopono or something you could make up for yourself and see what happens. And let me know in the comments below because I love reading your comments to see how this works for you. So if you want to know more about HoOponopono, you can also Google it. You can see the correct spelling for it in the title of this video. There's more information out there about Dr. Hugh Len, and Joe Vitale's book has some really interesting stories in it. I've got that linked below. And all of these things are really useful for navigating the world from a greater perspective as consciousness, which is kind of required now if you don't want to get stuck in the insanity of the old way of doing things. So if you like these videos, please give them a thumbs up and also click the bell icon to subscribe. And when you're doing that, you're telling YouTube to share these with more people. It gets this information out there, which is really important in the world today. And if you want a free sample of one of my consciousness techniques, click on the link below to the Skybox technique. This will give you an expanded experience of your life. I also have a self-study program. It's called Manifesting Money and Miracles. It's a great foundational training for how to shift and change your own energy to create a completely different reality. And if you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com. I do individual sessions where I take a look at the essence of who you are and what's going on in your life today. And I can answer any questions you might have, and the session is recorded for you. And if you want to learn how to do this for yourself, the self-study is a great primer for my coaching special where I work with you one-on-one and I give you specific consciousness techniques to help you transform your life. So go to my website, joan-newcomb.com, and I'll see you tomorrow in another Morning Musings.